Good morning. Good morning. Another beautiful day, beautiful summer day in Bent Tree. Thank you all for coming. This is a great day and a great meeting. We're going to have a great meeting about the state of Lake and Wildlife, which is in good hands. So let us begin today by going through our mission, as we always do every month. Living in Bent Tree is a privilege that includes the responsibility to care for our natural world around us. Therefore, Lake and Wildlife works to preserve the natural beauty and wildlife of Bent Tree by encouraging Bent Tree community and all residents to be good stewards of our natural resources. So what our mission and vision and what our action plan is always to monitor, educate, and volunteer. And that's what it's all about, and that's what we focus on every day and every month here at Lake and Wildlife. Today we're going to talk about new partners that may be here. Our board liaison report from Glenn, from the board of directors. Today we'll have all committee reports for our meeting, and they will be quite detailed to give you the state of Lake and Wildlife and the benefits and action plans. Treasurer's report, which will be in there, and then an adjournment. We'll have our state of the board from Glenn, talk about what's happening at the board.
Good morning. Dredging. If you've been down to the beach, you notice it looks like an army camp down there now. Camouflage vehicles and everything. They've got the equipment in place, and they plan to start dredging next week. So as soon as they get set up, the beach will be closed. We're going to see how they set up before we determine if anything else needs to be closed, like the pavilion. We hope not, but that's going to be based on what they need done to keep it safe for everybody. They'll be dredging 5 days a week. They will stop for Youth Week. They won't even be here. They'll go home or wherever, and then they'll start afterwards. When they finish the beach, they'll move over to the marina, and then the last stage will be over at Mulligan. Finances, something I don't normally touch on, but we're doing well financially. Bent Tree is. Our two biggest questions every year are how the tavern's going to do and how the golf course is going to do, and both are doing very well financially so far through April. Tavern is way ahead. The golf course is doing what we expect to do, and we think it'll even get better this month. We have a lot of tournaments planned. Also, the stables. They've got 4 horses in now, and Shayna was picking up an additional 7 horses that she bought that she was going to bring in this weekend. They expect to be fully operational by Youth Week, camps and everything. It's odds and ends. Public Safety is offering a CPR course, first aid course. It's $100. All that money goes to the person giving the course. They'll be putting out some details on that. And also, I think it was in the Friday news, Public Safety is offering home inspections. It'll come in and inspect your home for fire hazards and safety. And they'll also be looking around the perimeter for firewise to help you in case there's a forest fire. And last but not least, the filing deadline for the board of directors passed, and the only person who filed was Sandra Stewart, who's already on the board. So we have 1 board member for next year. We need 2 more. I'm looking at all of you. We haven't determined the exact process yet. It'll certainly involve an interview with the board members, the current board members. The term would start in January. It's a great opportunity. You really get the inside view of how Bent Tree works, and it's well worth it. So please give it some serious consideration. We'll be putting something in the Friday news about how what the process will be. It'll be basically an interview. Won't have to stand for re-election or election. You won't have to write an essay. Don't have to submit your picture. Just come in and talk to us. Tell us your views of how you think you could make Bent Tree better. So that's it.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Glenn. Appreciate it. Appreciate all your help, support. And I got the message, and so did many others here about the board. And I'm certain people will be considering that, especially with the smaller interview process to get there. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's start talking about Lake and Wildlife from the perspective of the organization itself. Lake and Wildlife is one of only 2 standing committees that reports directly to the board of directors. There's Lake and Wildlife, and there's what we call BTAC, Bent Tree Activities Committee. Only 2 report to the board and run separately. Our liaison, as you've just heard from, is Glenn. Glenn and many others here, Mary Lou, Bob, all have served here at Lake and Wildlife in one respect or another, from an officer to one of the committee chairs. And many of them have moved up to the board of directors, which is why I know Glenn is here to look for people from the board. And they have been here and helped us as they moved up also. Lake and Wildlife is starting its 41st year. We were established back in 1985 as a fisherman's club. And many of you know or not know, and from there grew Lake and Wildlife. We have 2 co-chairs, myself and Jim White, who's at the table over there, who greeted you when you came in. Our secretary, Carolyn LaHaye. Carolyn, oh, there you go. I want you to know who Carolyn is for sure. Our treasurer, Denise McCabe. Denise does all the treasury work, checkbooks, etc. She had an opportunity to go and see her newborn grandchild, so she is not here today. But as we all know, family comes first. So that's where she is, what she's given us his report. Subcommittees. We have KBTB, Andy Kidd. Andy? Hey! Andy handles all the landscaped holiday plantings, many other things, and this year has taken on the community gardens. And he will be speaking about his role and what he does. Trails, Mason Holland. Mason, all right. Mason does a wonderful job maintaining, developing, and handling all of our trail system here in Bent Tree. Wildlife, Miguel. Yeah.
Go hogs!
Hey. Those deer hogs. Very good, Andy. Handles and watches over the deer count, the geese here, and the hogs. Wildlife Wednesdays and Fridays, he does the publications in the emails that you'll see. A very, very nice job Miguel does for us there. And then, of course, animal research and education and calls. As you know, we have BentreeLW@gmail, where people call, or else they'll email in, hey, what is this? What is that? We've got this problem. Can you help us? We get a number of those, and Miguel has to help answer those along with others here, too. Events, Bonnie Pichette. Bonnie! Hey, thank you. Bonnie, events. She handles the holiday dinner, the fish fry. Yeah, which is next week, and she'll talk about that. And the employee lunch, which she will handle too. And that comes once a year for our employees here at Bent Tree, which is fantastic. Fundraising. Fundraising at this time is open, but it is all of us. It is all the officers and all the committee who are helping put together, keep going, all the things like Tamarack Treasures, which will be held in November, Whispering Springs, that was just held, Hanging Baskets, which was also just held, and then, of course, trail signs, which we get revenue for from the community, and then also now the community gardens, which is also bringing money into Bent Tree. So into Lake and Wildlife, we all participate, we're all working together, and while we're here today, our new Tamarack Treasures co-chair, Susan Rivas, is here. Susan! Thank you. Thank you. See Susan for sure. It's going to be a good one this year. Lakes, streams, Huff, yeah. Huff manages the fishery here, the lake, all of the feeders, the habitat, also stocking, which I used to call planting and was corrected about, but yeah. Stocking the lake, and so it's a very good situation. And I work with Huff on handling the streams and the stream monitoring as well as erosion. And you'll see more on that as we go through. Forestry habitat was Dara before, Dara and Barb, all right, come on, hands up, there you go, all right. Barb is doing a very good job of that with planting, educating, maintaining areas, habitat, and then of course also plant sales. And she also handles emails and information that go out from her through the website with Miguel. Last but not least, very important, volunteers. Megan, as you know, Megan Wandry is usually here on Saturdays. Megan has taken a new job, and this new job requires she works Saturdays. So she is heartfelt apologies to all of us, saying, she really was going to miss this, but she'll handle our volunteers and handle all kinds of other things that she does for us at this time. And she also handles any of the credit card issues and buying that we have for certain events and t-shirts. So that is the Lake and Wildlife Organization as it stands today. I think one thing I want to mention, it's kind of as I call it, and in management sometimes, an upside down pyramid. It's all the way across. It was very lean, very mean, not really mean, but very lean. And it's very low budget and it works very well. And the bottom of the pyramid is actually the community. And we all serve the community to make it a better place. And I think that we just need to know that we're all in this because there's volunteerism, there's camaraderie, but you know what? When it all comes down to it, it's what's in our heart. And that's why we continue to do this. So that is your group, that's your board, and let's move on from here. Any questions? Okay. Officers, myself, Jim, Denise, Carolyn. Sticking with our vision and action plan, monitor, educate, volunteer. What do we do? What do we look at? What are we focused on to make sure happens? Lake and streams monthly for chemical, insects, bacteria, the fishery, forestry habitat, monitoring and looking at native and non-native species and planting, wildlife population, and monitoring trail maintenance and development in the community gardens. That's what we monitor, but also as officers provide and monitor our leadership. So our leadership is growing, it's changing, just like everything else around us. We have to make sure people can come up and work with us, grow, have the meetings on time, make sure the finances are in place and monitored. And one thing I want to point out that's very important is record keeping. And that's Carolyn. Carolyn does a lot of record keeping behind the scenes. She has all the minutes from every meeting. She has to make sure it was all said as it was said and done and according to the rules and regulations. So Carolyn has a big job, and we're happy she's there with us. Education. We educate with the partners meetings like today, our board reports, as was given, trail walks, youth week, the newcomers, email, and fishery and streams. All this is an educational process in all the ways that we do it throughout the community. Last but not very least is the volunteers. Volunteers for KBTB to work on the trails, to make sure we have volunteers here at the partners meetings. Stream keepers work with us, the fishery, wildlife. BTCI savings is very important, and I'll talk about that as we get to the rest of it. And of course, fundraising and events. Have volunteers for all these things. We have to make sure we have volunteers and that they keep coming and working with us, and we don't burn them out, which is something that we have to be very careful of. So, from there, I'm going to step in here for Denise and talk about fundraising. Why do we fundraise? We fundraise, obviously, to support water quality monitoring, testing of the lake, all the chemicals and products that we use, to monitor the wildlife activity, and then to do what we need to do to help develop and change that activity if we need to. Enhance and protect the local wildlife habitat. What do we grow, pull out? How do we take care of that? Maintain and improve the walking trails. That's very important. And a lot of the funds that we raise goes to that. Beautify the common areas with plants and landscaping. Of course, you all know how that works, and Barb does a great job of that. And also provide educational programs and materials like we have today, or if we have to invite speakers in and pay for speakers. Those are all where the money goes. And recognize our BTCI partners and lake and wildlife volunteers. And we recognize them as not only with a luncheon or something like a plaque, but also, how about the volunteers that get a free lunch or a cake or whatever that might be coming from a bake sale. We do that with the funds. Accomplishments and plans. This is very interesting, and Denise has put together a nice slide. I think you need to look at and see. I don't know if you can see it in completion here. But anyway, from fundraising over the last year. 2 years ago, we had 2 events at Tamarack Treasures. The income was $17,800. That was a lot of money. That was a very successful year. Hanging baskets is about $1,500. Our sign renewal, renewing the trail signs around the trails, is about $2,400. Whispering Springs, $550. Now, this year, with us redoing Tamarack Treasures and Sue starting out to bring this together, we did not budget anything, just to be very, very conservative, because we always look at the worst case scenario. But we will have one event, and that event will generate anywhere from probably 8 to 10. But that's not been budgeted. Hanging baskets made a little over $2,000, and that was thanks to all the work of Andy and Marietta and the people that volunteer and help. Sign renewals brought in $400 this year because they renew every 3 years, and that's all that there is. So Whispering Springs brought in more than we thought, $950. But as you can see, it's a mix, and it always goes that way. You can look back in history, way back to 9 and 10, 2011, where there was the yard sales, as they called it, and there were big sales going on. And then after a while, the dredging took place, so they couldn't do the yard sale there because you couldn't get in there. Then it went on, and then 14, 15, it slowed down, and they thought of other things to do. They were like we are right now, where they had 23, 25,000, all of a sudden it dropped down to 15, and then it came back up again. But they dealt with what they had, and they spent what they were allowed to spend, which is why we have the balance today. And then, of course, COVID took place, and then we couldn't have the Tamarack Treasures and things like that. So it's always up and down, but there's always something else that comes in, like Whispering Springs or the signs. So we look at that and budget and plan accordingly. Where are we year to date? Here again, like I say, we had big balances from Tamarack Treasures, and we've held on to that. We're at 23,000 to start. This year we've had 8,400 in revenues from various things like hanging baskets, Whispering Springs, as you can see, fish fry. But now we have the community garden plots that have come in. So it's very interesting how this goes up and down, but we're doing very well, and expenses are less, 6,500. So we're actually at a balance of 25,000 year to date through June, which I think is a very good job, very good work by our leadership team, as well as Denise, who reminds us about how that balance needs to look. So expenses year to date, like I say, 1,500 for community garden. Also 127, that's stream monitoring. Those are our chemicals, reagents that we use to do all the stream monitoring. 800 educational programs, 900 administration, which includes a number of things, including, the type of work that we do and brochures, information, and then hanging baskets for 2,900. That's our financial status year to date. Any questions? I know that's a lot to swallow. I know. Okay, we're going to move on next to KBTB as a committee. Andy, come on down and I'll let you run a show.
Slide. I'm not going to read it to you. I'd like to remind, I forgot to tell you before the meeting, Karen Rooker, who's hosting a big special party in here tonight, she wants everything left out.
Yay.
So the good news is we don't have to stack chairs today. Okay, so everything stays. Okay, 10 seconds, read the slide. Next slide, please.
Do you want me to click it or do you want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, our goals. We do a winter and spring planting. However, I think we're going to not do winter planting anymore because nothing grows and the deer eat what we try to plant. And if you notice, last winter we just mulched everything and it looked nice. Nobody complained. So we'll be doing a spring planting, which we just finished. That was vinca and salvia and lantana and mulch. Lots of mulch. Raise your hand if you help with the mulch. Okay. Raise your hand if you help with the planting. Oh boy. Okay. And then we do the install for all of our outdoor decor. And we decorate admin, we decorate the Cove Road entrance, the back gate, the mail center. So it's pretty cool, and we have some great fun. And the alcohol flows very nicely that morning. And it's great. And then we take it down and organize it. It's all organized in the basement of admin. Pressure spray. In fact, I'm going to be doing that in the next 2 weeks. We pressure spray and maintain with Dieta Daly is our chair on that. That's her zone, and we're going to pressure spray the Memorial Gardens because it gets a little mildewy in all the chairs. So that's cool. Weed, water, maintain. We rebuilt, and I'll get to that in a minute, Smoky, and I'll tell you about that later. Next slide, please. And there we are. Cove Road entrance. We maintain Cove Road entrance. Yeah, you can applaud if you think it's good. This was last year in the springtime. Cove Road, winter season mulch, trim, weed, and water. We have a watering committee. Who's my Cove Road? Is she here? Jan, Jeff Coate, and Lou Dunnigan. They're our chairs for that zone. We have it divided into 9 zones, the place. Next slide. Oh, look at those young men. In fact, Rick Patterson over there on the blue, he donated that sign, the new sign that's there, and the tree that's next to it that, by the way, doesn't look too good. We may have to replace it. It's a pine tree. This is dying, so we need to watch that. That's a special pine. I don't remember what the name of it is. And that's Brian George there helping him. Next slide. Upper and lower security, that's where those guys were standing, and also the security checkpoint. And we maintain and trim and keep the stream that is the little dry rock bed open so things don't flood on a big huge thing. There's actually a drain down there. It's very important. And we help hang the Christmas lights. Yeah. Next slide. Admin. This is interesting for you old folks. Do you guys remember when the recycle, and I know Luann remembers, the recycle center was built, the new one? Who remembers that? Raise your hand. And then we had so many complaints that says, we don't want to see that when we come into the main entrance. I agree. We want to cover it. It's going to, with the growth. So we planted. This is, I don't even know how many years back. Luann, how many years? 6 years ago? 7 years ago, and now look at it. And all these growths are coming up to maturity, and it's great. It hides it pretty much from the front as you enter. Next slide. There we go. I'm really proud of this. We have designed, KBTB's designed, when all the renovations for the cottage library were done, we wanted to make sure we get something done on the outside. So we have made this a model for Firewise homes. So if you'd like to go over there and say there's a 5-foot section of rock, gravel, that's going around the edges of the cottage. We have natural habitat, native species that are planted, and then we have put in the parking lot bumpers to make it a real parking lot, so people aren't just haphazardly parking, so it looks a lot nicer. Next slide. I only have 172 slides. I hope you don't mind. Zone 4, that's the admin and the mail center. So we landscape that. Next slide. And there's some happy campers that have just finished working on this front entrance area. Next slide. Oh, Smokey the Bear, man, proud of this. Beth Leonard, who is a relatively new resident in Bent Tree, is an artist, among many other things, and a musician, and a singer, all that stuff. We said, we need somebody to repaint the Smokey the Bear. So we took it down a couple months ago, you might have noticed. She took it home, and it was all rotten. So her husband, Don, and her bought the lumber and re-carved out the what is the name, what am I looking for? The facade. Yeah, the bear. And she hand-painted the bear, sealed it. It was a couple coats of primer and all that, hand-painted it, It should last for another 20 years. We also painted the sign, the gray part of that sign and everything. So that's Beth Leonard, if you see her. And you guys need to go by there and look at the bear. It's very, very cool. Wonderful artist. Next slide. And there we are putting it up. That's Reed Conrad and Dawn Leonard, her husband. Next slide. What's that? Oh, mail seal. Not proud of that picture, but we're working on the little landscaping at the mail center. Okay, and that was, yeah. This was interesting. You old folks in here that have been around for a while, we used to be a native habitat, I guess, or a bunch of weeds. It was not landscaped well. This is probably now 9 to 10 years ago. And we planted these boxwood and some other plants in there, and of course that Japanese maple. Take a look at it as you leave today and see where you see. Mature, beautiful boxwood, which deer do not eat, thank God. And then the Japanese maple is beautiful. That's the rock, we call it the rock garden because I guess back in the day you could actually see the rocks. The rocks have now sunk down into the ground, but that's what it is. Next one. Tavern boxes. We have the Niners. That's the women's girls golf, the Niners, under the direction of Teresa Shattuck. Keeps the tavern flower boxes and the pots there in primo shape. And that's planted with salvia and vinca here for the spring and summer. We furnish, this is the money that we have, we raise, we furnish cocoa liners for those flower boxes and mulch and all that kind of neat stuff and topsoil. Next slide. Oh yeah, wait, go back one, Brian.
Sure.
It's real important, if you can read this. This committee picks out the cigarette butts out of the planters every week. Next slide. Memorial Gardens. Memorial Gardens is, again, kept up very nice with the KBTB with new pine straw. And, of course, we steam, pressure wash it and what needs to be done there. Next slide. There it is. There it is again. Next slide. Back Gate. Man, John Jameson is the chair of this zone, Zone 8, and he does a wonderful job with maintaining that. And this is an old picture. You can probably see what's there now. It's working good. Next slide. Okay, holiday decor, my favorite time of the year. So we have everything organized in the admin basement. We set it all out. We have a lot of volunteers usually if the weather's good. And we set up the outdoor decor. We try to add a little bit each time. We try new things. So that's what we do there. And we then take it down on the first week of January. Next slide. And there's a picture of the mail center. Next slide. There we are at nighttime.
Beautiful.
John, by the way, Brian George, who was in the previous slides, he and his wife donate a large festive something almost every year. And now we have a Christmas tree, and he's already ordered another one, which he has, which will replace the one we have. It's a big lighted Christmas tree. It's more elegant looking. You'll probably see it this coming Christmas. Next slide. Tavern decorated. Love it. Next. And there's some cold volunteers doing the porch of the admin. And that's, yeah, and there's David Johnson, his wife Rebecca, and their kids. We'd really like to get more children and families involved in decorating and tearing down stuff and planting and digging in the dirt. Next slide. Oh, y'all remember this? There we go. Decorating last year. Next slide. Okay, we have the new Bent Tree Community Gardens project. We have now 20, and that's as far as we're going to go, with 20 raised beds. They're all sold out. We charge $60 per year to have that raised bed, and there's a little rule sheet and a little contract you sign. And if you don't have anything to do this afternoon, you need to go look at the stables and you need to go look at the community gardens bed. We have residents that have those. They're loving it. We have the fire department here in Bent Tree donate a big cistern, water cistern that's up at the top of the hill. It's water fed. They keep it pumped from the pump that's in the little pond there at the quarry. And we have water, which is great, and the folks are living it. Barbara Collier, do you have anything to say about that? The community garden?
Fantastic. Tim's worked so hard on it.
Yeah. That's good. I think it's going to be a neat little benefit. And 20 beds, that's all we got right now, and that's all we really want because there is an aesthetic issue there. Also, Fred Macklem built every one of those raised beds, and we all put it together as volunteers, and it was great. Next slide. We need your help, 9 zone leaders. We need some help on that. Any questions? No questions.
Wow.
Okay, your test will be Thursday morning. Please be prompt.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy, for all you do. Now you know he was a teacher, too. So, and there will be an exam. Check your email. Okay, next we're going to move on to wildlife. And Miguel, who handles that committee, would you please come on up and ring the bell?
I'm going to be very brief because Andy took 92% of my time. So our role, we monitor, we educate, we volunteer for the stewardship of the nature and the animals around us. What we've done, we increased the monitoring the threat of wild hogs. That is becoming more and more of an urgent matter on these days. They are proliferating, they are multiplying, they are doing whatever the heck they can to make our lives miserable. So especially up in Danny Ridge, it's very bad, but we're trying to work on it. A never-ending battle of the geese at the beach. We chase them from the beach, they go to the spillover. We chase them from the spillover, they come to the beach with reinforcements. So it is still an ongoing battle. We try to educate via publications and presentations and sharing all sorts of information that we can find so we can learn a little more every week. Our plans continue to publicize and present some topics of interest. Increased focus on the deer management effort. We fell off our goal this past year, so we need to really refocus on getting it done and getting it done right this year. And we used to have, when Eldon was leading this effort, kind of a network of volunteers who used to monitor what was happening. I have fell down on that job, but I intend to reinvigorate and renew that in the coming months. That's all I have for wildlife. Do we have anything else?
I don't believe so. I think that's it.
All right, very good.
Question about the hogs.
Yeah.
I know you're monitoring. Is there anything that we can do to be more proactive to, I mean, I know we do the deer culling. Can we start going after hogs? I'm not talking me.
Glenn?
Administration is well aware of the problem. They are proliferating. They have started an action plan to bring in all the resources that we can, including possibility of using heat drones to locate them and to eliminate them with extreme prejudice. Right now, specific
I mean, I
plans.
haven't seen one, I haven't heard one. I'm glad, but.
Yeah, they are here, especially on the higher altitudes around the ridge. They are even here in roads. So it's not by them.
What you can do is try to shoo them back in with your canoe.
Very good.
They're probably doing that to us.
Very good. Miguel, thank you very much. That was a good presentation. I will make a comment too in regard to the hogs or destruction and so on. And I am on various chats throughout Bent Tree. So I see the information and so on about people's sightings and their bell ring cameras and such. And what we would like to do is when you see that, if you have a reporting of a destructive situation, whether it's a hog or a bear, please report that to Michael Corey. and safety. And if you have the pictures and the time and date, that is very helpful. Because he has a task force, a team that goes out after this and watches and looks and takes, remediated action. So please get to Michael Corey any pictures in safety. He's in the Bent Tree directory, and that would be very helpful. He asked me to mention that today. Yep.
I would just add, in response to your question, we live up at the top of Denny Ridge, so we only see the evidence that they've been there. We've picked them up a couple of times on our wildlife cam. It's mainly at night, so we don't see them. Now, we have heard that Young Life has had does have a problem just like we do up here, and we're working with them. But they've actually had a situation where some were spotted walking inside one of their internal roads during the daytime. We've not seen that I'm aware of. Brian, do you know of anything? No. So it's usually late at night. The two times that we picked them up on our cam, believe it or not, it was 8:38 at night. We were home, didn't hear them, but saw what all they tore up the next morning. And but it's mainly at night when we see them, or when they're coming through, at least so far.
Do we have traps? Do we have the containers set around?
Yes.
Okay. Are we getting them? I mean, are they?
No, they're shy of it. Plus, the bears are going in and tearing them up and trying to get the bait. So there's competition, and so the hogs don't go near them now, hardly at all. But there's other ways that we can work with reducing the population. So, any other questions? Okay, Huff, it's time for lakes and streams, and I know you can't wait. So come on up here and let us know. I got 3 for you.
3. Okay, I'm going to give a preliminary first, and then we'll go to the slides.
Okay, that'll work.
When I first came here about 7 years ago, my first question, because I love to fish, is how's the fishing? And everybody said to me, it used to be great. And I said, what happened? Well, I don't really know, but well, we got the Aquaculture Environmental Services to come and do a survey. We shocked the lake, shocked the fish. They come up kind of stunned and they go back down again. We scooped them up, measured them, weighed them, and so forth, put them back in. There were very few fish. Eldon can attest to that because he was watching us go around, and it's shocking. And I don't know where all the fish went, but there weren't any fish. So I came back with one of the people that had a bass boat, and with his electric motor and his sonar, which shows the bottom and all the sides, we looked for the fish. Well, we couldn't find them. There were a few fish in one spot, a few others, but just all in all, of 110 acres, very few fish. What we did find out was that the bottom of the lake, which should be full of grass and weeds and so forth for fish to feed on and hide and so forth, was bare. It was like, they called it a bathtub. I'd never seen anything quite as bare as our bathtub. And the problem was that many years ago, after dredging, stirred up a lot of nutrients, created some weeds up on the surface, and we put in, I wasn't here, but put in something like 10,000 grass carp. Well, they were very good at their job. They took care of all the weeds on the surface, everywhere else, and today they only have a lifespan of about 10 to 12 years. Today we got a few left. They're like this, but they die out, and they're dying out now. To try to establish some type of cover on the bottom, we Lake and Wildlife ended up, at the recommendation of the biologist, we ended up putting some habitat structures in.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. I got to look a little closer.
Got them in the middle.
Oh, here you go. There's some of the habitat structures we put in here. There's some of the brim, and here's some crawfish we put in. The habitat structures we put in not only are just the spikes, but a lot of the habitat structures, 35 of them, are bushes, and they are made out of vegetable plastic, which is supposed to last 100 years. And I had them marked by wood duck decoys, kind of neat. And the decoys didn't last long. People took them home for souvenirs, I think. And also the little rings didn't hold up and with the waves and so forth. But the 38 habitat structures are down there, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to a 110-acre lake. I've mentioned this before a number of times, but it's interesting. 110-acre lake is crystal clear unless it rains, and that's all the silt comes in and so forth. But it's a beautiful water quality lake that is Brian and his helpers also every month check the water quality. It's ideal water quality. And the crystal clear lake is wonderful for swimming. It's a source of our water when it's droughty, and it's also a great place for the fish, except there's no food. And so that habitat structures we put in were increased by 100 artificial Christmas trees. Now that was no easy job. They come in a little box like that, 3 pieces you got to put together. You got to pull out every branch, every little limb, and everything to make the Christmas tree stand out. We put a half concrete block on the bottom of them. There's a big cork float on the top so it'll stand straight up. And we put 100 out with help of volunteers, and we really appreciate the help. And we put them in circles because that's what they recommended. And so we have 20 pods of Christmas trees in circles in the lake. So we have 138 habitat structures now. That's made a big difference. The fishing has increased every year to this year. People are catching 15 to 40 fish every time they go out, up until the water got a little warmer. But March, April, beginning of May, it was really, really good. It's different today post-spawn, meaning after the largemouth have spawned. They're now a little bit more nocturnal, early in the morning, late in the evening, but people are still catching fish. The brim, we stocked 4 or 5 stockings of food sources for the fish. The first year we put in 5-inch bluegill, 5-inch to try to keep all the bass from eating the bluegill, only the big bass, and give the bluegill an additional population to spawn. They have done very, very well in the lake. We've got lots of bluegill. If you just get to one of the feeders and watch the feeder go off, you'll know how many bluegill we got. The bluegill have gotten so large that this is ladies, don't be offended by this. They're so big that we call them titty brim, because you can't hold them in your hand to get the hook out. You got to put them right here to get the hook out. They're that large. So they're the bluegill. The bluegill. Yeah, you could fire me. I don't care. The bluegill are really large and great fun, particularly for the kids that are fishing. And this is a good example of a bluegill. This was actually caught
Just last week.
yeah, that was by Gerald Hunter.
Yep.
The fire rod. He caught 30 the other day with a fire rod. So the fishing is really quite good. We're working on removing the spotted bass because the spotted bass, great eating, great fighting fish, but they will take over a lake, and the bluegill will be gone because they eat all the little fish. The bass will be gone because they outfeed them, And so the biologist has asked us to remove all the spotted bass we can. We have removed, and we put them in 3 areas. We took out 1,000 last year. The people that are fishing and really working on getting them out. We put them over the spillway. We put them in Dr. Levine's pond. We put them in number 7 hole at the golf course. We put them in the frying pan. And we also fillet them and give them to elderly people that can't fish but love fish. And we've given lots of spotted bass fillets away. So that's worked out very well. Next slide, please.
Who's in?
All right. This is a fish cleaning dock. I'm a little hard to see, so I got to go up there and look at it. That's a fish cleaning dock we put in. It's getting a lot of use. People are cleaning fish there, cleaning a spotted bass. It's got a pump, a hose, as you see the hose, and it's been maintained very well. It's kept very clean. This slide is an indication of the fish that we are catching. That's Gerald Hunter there, I think, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah.
Just an example of the kind of fish that we're catching. But the fishing has become very, very good. On the docks, we have a fish feeder that Lake and Wildlife maintains. The reason we have them on the docks is so kids can come and go fishing if they don't have a boat, don't have a dad to take them, and can fish. And when the feeder goes off, they're like piranha. They come up. If you can keep the geese away, they hear it going off too, and the geese fly in, and turtles and everybody. We're feeding a lot of animals, but the fish feeders are working very well. We have 1 on each dock, that's 3. We have 8 on individual property owners' lots. Mason's got 1, we appreciate that very much. And so those are being maintained by the people who are on the lots, and they're spread out through the lake. And we try to set them so they go off at the same time so the geese can't figure it out. And if you want to watch them go off, 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the evening. And it's fun to watch the fish come off because they really are very active. And that's been another great source of food. Now, 6 years ago, we stopped at 5-inch bluegill. The next year, we stocked redfin shad. They worked great, but the fish ate them all in 1 year. They didn't spawn, they did nothing the next year. So we decided that's not really a good source of food year after year. And we recommended that we put crawfish in there. Put crawfish in the 3rd year, and the 4th year, the fish we were catching had little baby crawfish in the crawls, meaning that the crawfish did what they're supposed to do. They go bury in the mud in June or July. They come up sometime in February, lay eggs, and by March, the little crawfish are there. We also stocked them last year, and this year again, we put 3,000 pounds of crawfish in. It's working very, very well. And that's been a great source of reproductive food, a renewable resource for the lake.
1 more.
5. Here we are. Okay. We, Brian and I and the executive committee have redone the rules for the lake boating and fishing. The last rules that were written were in 1999, is
Yep.
In 1999. So they were a little outdated. We didn't really have to make many changes. We clarified a few things. We made one change that said the width of the boat can be 7 feet. It used to be, I think, 6 feet. But the small catamarans now are 7 feet. So the board has allowed that at 7 feet. And just recently, someone had put out some floating corks that were free for catching catfish, and that's something we don't want. And so I talked to Michael about it, the security head, and Michael said, "Well, Huff, there's nothing in the rules about that. I said, what about dynamite? Well, nothing in the rules about that. What about nets? No, nothing in the rules. So we needed to put that in the rules, and we put that in the rules, and very simply it says fishing by rod and reel only. I mean, it sounds simple, but that needed to be said. We also clarified the guest rules about fishing. When I first came here, there were all kind of boats out there, lake fishing. Somebody's barbers from down in Jasper, and people coming in through the back gate and so forth. There really wasn't any enforcement of it. And so Lake and Wildlife put together some ideas with security and Michael about decals necessary for boats and so forth. And the guest rules are as follows. If you have a guest that wants to come in and go fishing or come in for the weekend and bring his boat, if the administration office is closed on the weekend, the decals are available at security. That doesn't give the guest free pass for the whole year. It just means when you call that person in, he's able to come in as a guest. He can't come back unless someone calls him in as a guest. So that's basically what the rule is. The rules, by the way, are now available, I think, over there at the desk, and you can take a look at them. But they're the basic rules as we've always had them here. Nothing too important, but just clarification. And no nets, no dynamite, and fishing by rod and reel only. Questions?
Do you think the dredging is going to change the fish?
Yeah, I've
fishing?
been asked that a lot. I don't think it's going to make a dime's worth of difference to the fishing, and I'll tell you the reason why. Where they're dredging, there's no fish there now. The water's only that deep, and what it's going to do, it's going to muddy the water up and so forth. What do you think the fish and the crawfish are going to do? They're going to go to the deeper water. It's going to move away. It's not going to hurt the fishing. And the bottom line is it's going to help the fishing once it's done. So you got to break a few eggs to make an omelet. And I think the dredging is, I can't say overdue, but certainly due. And I'm real pleased to see it happening. Any other questions? All right, you can pick up these rules at the desk there if you need to. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Huff. We wouldn't have a fishery if it wasn't for Huff, I'll tell you. What a great benefit to this community, and especially the biologists he works with to make sure it's right. Thanks, Huff, so much. We'll move on to subcategory underneath Huff. Our work as stream keepers and what we do and how we do it. It's just very important. We monitor 5 incoming streams that come into Lake Tamarack, 1 outgoing stream, Long Swamp, as it goes down and out to Jasper. We also monitor Lake Tamarack, the beach, and now the quarry. And we do every one of these monthly. The quarry we're doing every other month just to monitor what's there and how the community gardens may affect it or not, which it hasn't, which is great. We measure pH, possible hydrogen, direct oxygen, nitrates, phosphates, alkalinity, which is the stability. The macros in there, the macros, as you know, are strange little critters or macroinvertebrates, but basically they're baby, young, and growing mayflies and dragonflies and all kinds of little water worms that you can see in the pictures or not see because it's pretty hard to look at that. The bacteria we monitor through the summer at the beach in 3 different areas, which we'll monitor this year to determine when it's good to have the beach back open. And conductivity, which is electricity, conductivity, the amount of ions and microns that will give life to dissolved oxygen and so on. Last year we put in 787 data points from these streams into the system at Adopt a Stream in Georgia, which is what we belong to and who we work with, which is part of the DNR in the state of Georgia. And that's all input into the system, and you'll be able to see that as members if our people pass the tests and are certified to get into the stream keepers. We found no major issues in 2025. We had 2 minors. We had a couple bacteria jumps that went out on Coffee Cove and up on Long Swamp. Also some jumps in the same area on conductivity. We retested As you know, Danny Day does all our bacteria counts in his laboratory and his business, and we redid the counts. Within 30 days, they were all back down to normal. What was it? It was a combination of high temperatures that was really strange and also low water volume. And it got real slow, real hot, and it just like it cooked. And the bacteria cooked, it had nowhere to go, and it sat there. Within 30 days, we had rain and storms, and it flushed it on through, and it was gone. As Huff said, this is like a bathtub. And we're at one end, and it flushes through. Millions of gallons a day go through here and downstream. What else is there? Stream keepers, we do our lake and stream monitoring, but also each year with Huff's help and also Kevin O'Brien do the pellet program at the beach to help prevent the leach growth and also other things that are around the beach that were a problem years ago. And we'll be doing that each month, twice a month, with outside areas being done for pellets this year after the dredging is done. Stream keepers, along with Lake and Wildlife, also determine and put a dredging plan together prior to dredging, what we would do, what we would monitor, and how to make sure the water and the quality was good enough to open the beach back up. And then a post program of what we would do after, depending on the effects of the dredging. So the board has a plan, we have a plan. Moving along, we do Meet the Creek at Youth Week, and we also do educational classes during the year here and for other people. Incidentally, Meet the Creek is 2 classes, 1 day. Youth Fest, first class already, 12 people registered, second class 14. So we have a good turnout again this year for Meet the Creek. And also our regional director is going to be doing 2 other classes there, along with everything else we do at Meet the Creek. Stream bank restoration. I think it's very important. You all know there was restoration work done last year and the year before. Here's Huff and Kevin putting the pellets out. Here's one of the educational sections of recertification. This is Coffee Cove. If you drive the road, the lake is over here. Now this is all grown up with wildlife, native species, and all kinds of things. But this is what it was. And we put the logs in, we put the stream bank reinforcement and so on here. So that's just part of what we do and what we continue to do with the stream. So we'll continue to do that as we go along. Okay, habitat conservation. Barb, come on up and talk.
Last year was a great year for our natural habitat areas. Many native plants are now self-sustaining, able to take browse and maintain. We're seeing several meadows, and many meadows take shape in positive directions. As we manage Bent Tree's natural habitat areas, we encourage everyone to be familiar with the Habitat Conservation Plan on our Bent Tree website. Protection of our natural environment takes a commitment and involvement by everyone in our community. First guidance starts with our homes for everyone to implement fire-wise practices. Then all of us need to ask questions like, how does this decision impact our animals, birds, plants, or watershed? Native plants are the absolute foundation to some part of each of our wildlife's life cycle. Whether it is the beginning of a new bear cub's diet needing native grasses, or a 75-year-old turtle needing native plants for survival before brumation. We maintain Bent Tree's natural areas and hold several events throughout the year. Last year, we collaborated with BTAC seniors for 2 planting events. I do expect that to return in 2027. Yes. I'm not a great speaker.
You're doing fine, Mark. You're doing fine.
Healthy landscapes equal healthy wildlife. The accomplishments of our assigned natural habitat areas from seed mixes and the natural seed bank have given us a list of the plants we can concentrate on to establish and spread out to residents and provide more under canopy alongside the amount of browse Bent Tree has. This list is now on naturespotnow.com. I do want to point out squirrels contribute a significant portion of that browse. Significant. I could only grow and support a limited amount during the year because of my space and browse on my decks. I am excited to announce that the use of a greenhouse has been donated to us, and I look forward to developing goals with our committee that will assist in under canopy contributions and support many habitat conservation activities in the future. Seeding in larger areas will continue to add to what we have accomplished and provide a seasonal rotation of available plants to support our pollinators and songbirds' life cycles. Be a part of Georgia State University's Bird Box project. The committee voted to continue involvement with Georgia State University on their Bird Box project. Email any nesting songbird type to me at bentrysongbbirdnest@yahoo.com. And you'll be helping their census project, but you'll also be helping Habitat Conservation gain a picture of our songbird health. Professors LaHaye and Graves will be visiting again in October for a casual afternoon get-together. Contact me. Let's talk about how you can help be a part of this project. I look forward to many years of networking with them, building on this relationship with Bent Tree. They will be back before nesting season of 2027 with more boxes. The eastern box turtle. Southern Conservation Trust restored the Ridge Nature Preserve here in Georgia and developed an eastern box turtle Head Start program. The Conservation and Research Department from Zoo Atlanta is protecting the turtles' nests, raising the hatchlings for 1 year, then returning them back to the preserve for better survival rates. This is a huge advancement for the declining turtle population. From this, they are developing eastern box turtle habitat best practices, which I will be applying to our assigned habitat areas. They are great people to learn from, and this has potential for Bent Tree family events. They are eager to come out on weekdays to engage our community. I hope to schedule that after their busy seasons. Next one. TURN. That's the Environmental Resources Network. It's a conservation spinoff from Georgia DNR. They will be partnering with us for future programs. This networking has potential for Youth Fest, family events, and presentations. Their reach and expertise is vast. They have extensive knowledge in every living thing in Georgia. They are definitely strong allies for habitat environments, for healthy wildlife, and are an educational wealth of coexisting in our woodland-urban interface. The UGA, Blairsville Extension. This is the Great Southeast Pollinator Census. They're coming here in November. Our habitat conservation host plants support the research they do in the field. They have experts in biology, insects, habitats, and conservation. Their online course sign-up is going on now for 7 weeks of the emailed presentations or the Zoom webinars. That starts June 16th. The census is August 21st and 22nd. Email me if you're interested in simply giving them your pollinator numbers on those days. You do not have to take the course. Learning from them is a huge inspiration to build butterfly and wildlife gardens. Volunteer for wildlife. It's easier than you think. As a youth, I started my volunteer journey in nursing homes. I simply sat, talked, and prayed with the elderly women. It taught me to respect my elders. I continued helping my community in my 20s by serving food to the homeless on holidays and bathing shelter dogs headed for adoption events on Saturdays. It taught me to always be thankful. In my 30s and 40s, having begun a family, I volunteered with my church in leadership and community outreach events, and our Christian educational community teaching ancient history. It taught me about hope and community. Now in my 50s, I am here in habitat conservation. This volunteering has taught me every bit of under canopy matters. Whether it is 3 feet on your deck or 60 feet in your lawn, all native plant under canopy makes a huge difference. I can assist you with questions, identifications, even habitat value for wildlife. Simply email bentrysongbbirdnest@yahoo.com with any pictures or advice needed, and you'll be making a difference for our wildlife now and their future generations.
You're doing a tremendous job, Barb. Thank you very much. Hey, we don't mind if you have a little trouble speaking, because, boy, you sure work hard in the field, and that's what counts. And she's got a lot of stuff coming, a lot of ideas. She mentioned a greenhouse opportunity that we may have at Lake and Wildlife. for us to use that will be tremendous, and it's right here in Bentry. So thanks again, Barb, and just keep up the nice work. We appreciate it, and your devotion and your heart. Okay, we're going to have Miguel come back up again and talk about communications, and we stole 90% again, Miguel.
Barbara, at least 5 minutes. All right. The motto of the communication is the old line from Field of Dreams: if you build it, they will come. But you have to tell them how to get there. If you don't tell them, it doesn't exist. So that's extremely important. Whatever we do, we need to publicize. Whatever we plan, we need to publicize. Whatever we're thinking, we need to publicize. Otherwise, it does not exist. So, we have sustained our penetration with the Wildlife Wednesdays. It is at 47.61%. It is? 0.61, yeah. At any rate, a point of comparison. The Friday news that BTCI produces has 12% readership. We have 46%, 47%. So my message in this is the focus that we need to put on is on the Wildlife Wednesday. We will continue to contribute to the Friday news, but the focus is Wildlife Wednesday. The reason for that being is that, I don't know if you noticed, on the Friday news, you get the message, and our part of Lake and Wildlife, usually you have to get there by clicking on reading the whole message. Less than 1% of our people do that. So, again, for all practical purposes, it doesn't exist on the Friday news. But it exists for us on the Wildlife Wednesday. What else? We will continue to produce the articles on habitat, forestry, lake streams, hiking, and all good things that we do. The plans. Increase the footprint on social media. I am going to be personally responsible for that, especially Facebook and Instagram. Nextdoor, I'm a little reluctant because I am not a consumer of Nextdoor, too much of it, because I don't care if little Billy lost his bike in Talking Rock. I really don't. So, and that, unfortunately, 90% of what I get on Nextdoor is of that nature. Somebody stole my potted plant from my porch. Oh, okay. Looking into possibility, and for this I need to talk to Mr. John about podcasts, to have podcasts about these sessions, about what we say here, about what we do here, about the discussions we have here, and see what kind of consumption we get. Because I tell you this, John does a great job at keeping a record, a historical record of what we do and publicizing it. But I'm not sure if in this, I'm not sure that we cannot add to it, and I think that I'm going to look into it. So, last, our website. Our website is with the best of intentions, but we don't do a good job at keeping up with it. I don't know what the rate of how many people visit our website on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. I know it is not updated on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Maybe yearly basis we update it, but we don't keep it up. We don't keep up with times on that. So I am going to take a stab at it, and probably next time we talk, there'll be a little bit of a different thing to look at. So that's all I have. Any questions? Suggestions? Ideas? Anything? All right.
How about Billy?
Billy.
Poor Billy.
Billy.
He's living with next door.
Oh.
You didn't care about that.
Oh, God.
Man, you
Go
like
on. Go on.
Thank you, Miguel. Miguel, you do a great job. We appreciate everything you do. Wildlife Wednesdays is a tremendous hit. And, of course, Fridays, you know how we're buried. But I think all your initiatives and the social media have been tremendous. And I know many here use social media, whether it's KBTB or other areas, to publicize also, so that's good. I think John deserves a round of applause also for what he does. Volunteers here every month on Saturday to do this, publicize it, put it out on Nextdoor, now Facebook and Facebook in general, as well as Facebook Bentry. Readership is up. Recently, John has split it so that the business meeting part is one session that gets sent out, and then our speakers is another session, which is interesting. We're getting much more readership, but readership is out there, and that's why this is such a tremendous piece to have out on social media. We may get 50 people here, but we have 200 some people plus looking at it on social media, and that is tremendous. That is tremendous. So thank you, John. Fundraising, Jim White. Come on down, Jim. We'll try to keep this moving for you. I know it's a lot of slides, but our chance to speak to the general.
So, you know, we have some wonderful trails in Bentry. My friend Mason probably should be talking about this because he's really the engine that makes this work. But we do a fundraiser. Usually it's every 3 years. We did one in 25. We had some people who had been paying to support the trail signs. One gentleman was part of the first group. Bob, I don't know if you were part of the first group too, but was that about 12 years ago, maybe? Yeah. So it's a fundraising event for Lake and Wildlife. Helps us be able to maintain the trails. Mason leads that effort on maintaining the trails. He also leads the effort for getting the signs maintained, updated with new sponsors, new signs. So he does a tremendous job for us in that regard. But the funds that we receive from that pays for the new signs, pays for signs that have to be repaired or updated. And also we have some money left to go towards anything we might do on the trails. Mason and his folks, volunteers. So it's a really neat fundraising opportunity, and we'll have another opportunity in 2028, early 2028. It's amazing that people that have stayed with it. I talked to the gentleman who said he was one of the original people, so that's very impressive. Okay, I got the clicker. Yep. So another special project that we do is maintenance under power lines. I'm not sure how I got this because I'm not sure I advertised that I retired with Alabama Power. But maybe it's a natural. I'm not sure how many people. Is James still here? They just left. Okay, James Smith and Art Tippett. When I picked it up, trying to manage this effort, they, as far as I know, they were the trailblazers. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so basically what we're doing is we're asking volunteers to go in and under power lines where we have small trees or seedlings that look like that might be the type that would grow tall, that Amicalola EMC would typically come in and spray under the lines in order to kill anything that would possibly grow up into the lines or be in the way for when they're doing maintenance on the lines. We have a long list of volunteers. I picked this up from Kevin O'Brien. I think he succeeded Art. Art, of course, moved back to Kansas, he and Linda. And so we're just basically looking for situations where we need to do some trimming, do some cutting. We're not talking about major power saw, major power equipment to remove trees, large trees. However, if you see a tree that is growing up or it is near the line that is apparently dying or is already dead, you know, if you'll communicate that to me or to Brian, give us a location where it is, or give us a call and tell us about it. And we work with Ashley Brownell, and as far as identifying those trees, and we mark them, and EMC comes in, they'll send in some people to look at those and determine whether they need to cut them down. Okay, we're not taking those trees down. We're always looking for volunteers. Some of our volunteers, some of the areas that they volunteered for are not easily accessible, maybe up on a bank. And so some of them, due to either physical issues, have had to step aside and not do that anymore. So if that's something you're interested in doing, just in your neighborhood, find a neighbor to maybe help you do this. If you would like to take that on, let me know what area you would like to work with, and we'll be happy to sign you up. Any questions about that? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. Very important areas on those power lines and so on. We have a lot of response. Okay, Bonnie, I know you've been waiting with bated breath to get up here, especially with your dad here. Only have one slide.
All right. I have the fun job. I coordinate the social events for Lake and Wildlife, which we have our fish fry coming up on the 17th of this month. It's going to be very traditional fish fry with catfish, homemade hush puppies, homemade coleslaw. We're going to have cookies, water, tea, and an open bar. So, not open bar, cash bar. Sorry about that. Brian will be after me for that one. No open bar, cash bar. That's June 17th, coming up soon. I don't do this alone, though. I'm just coordinating. We have other people that are leading. And we're going to have the employee luncheon will be coming up. Luann Chambers will be handling that. So if you're up to volunteering, cooking, whatever, Luann will be needing some help, I'm sure, for that. And the holiday party is already scheduled for December 16th. Jan Rodriguez is spearheading that, and she's going to make it a little fancier this year. So be prepared. It's going to be extra special. So if anybody has any questions, I doubt they already have that, but that's the schedule for this year. Good.
Thank you, Bonnie. Thanks for stepping up and running this special events. We appreciate it very much. Thanks, Bonnie. Okay, how about trails? Mason, are you ready?
I like to think of our trails in 3 different categories. I've got them identified as park trails, scenic mountain stream trails, and wilderness trails. The park trails, of course, are Sally Doss, which get the most use out of all the trails in the neighborhood. I always see people down there, and we try to keep them in really good shape. The mountain stream trails, Beaver Run seems to be the trail that requires the most maintenance every year. Every couple of weeks, there's a tree falling down on Beaver Run. And it's usually the afternoon before I go out of town the next day. And then the wilderness trails are tough trails to walk, but they are beautiful trails, and we're looking to expand up in that area. But basically, our goals are to maintain and upgrade the trails that we have. And this slide just gives a list of all the types of different activities we do for maintenance. A lot of down trees that we have to remove. That's probably the biggest thing. We rebuilt the Sally Doss Bridge last year. It was rotted out on both ends, so we had to upgrade the stringers that were there and add 2 more stringers so that we could put Trex on it. And that turned out very nice. We keep all the brush, the new growth of trees that grows into the trails every year. We'll trim those back in the spring, and sometimes twice in the spring it takes to do that, to keep up with it, to keep the trails open. One of the things we've been doing in conjunction with Habitat is taking, especially in the Sally Doss area where make it look like a park, cleaning up all the down brush, tree limbs, that kind of stuff, and creating habitat piles, which I'll have some pictures of and explain them a little bit more when we get there. Cleaning the all-access handway or handrails to get a little algae growth on them. We painted wooden benches, signs, kiosks, handrails, etc. A lot of the benches that we've had in the past have had rot damage that needed to be replaced or repaired. We've been trying to upgrade those benches, which I'll talk about in a little bit. The parking areas at Salidas, a lot of people don't even know where they are, where Upper Salidas is when we talk to people. And so what we tried to do is last work day, we moved the Salidas trail sign to where it is better seen from the road, just to help people. And then we reorganized the parking area, and there's probably one tree in there that we want to get rid of just to facilitate traffic movement in that area as well, which we'll probably be looking at doing this year. The stinging insects, that's always a big one, especially if you get into a hornet's nest, a yellow jacket's nest on a steep section of trail where you can't run away. And then one other place we had to do in Salidas, there was a new trail that was being created just because it was easier for people to walk, or instead of going up or down to where the real trail was, they were cutting up through the middle. And that was a big patch of ground cedar, which is kind of a unique plant that we like to, we didn't want a trail going through there. So we closed that off, and you'll see a picture of how that's being restored. These are just some of the maintenance photos. Salidas, we try to keep those trails mulched so that they're not muddy. Again, they're the trails that get used the most. We moved the sign for the Salidas homestead to a point where it's more visible. It was kind of on the back side of the place, and unless you walked around back there, you never really saw the sign. So it's a little bit more informational this way. There's the bridge that got the rehab. This picture, I'm not sure what the purpose of this picture is. It looks like
it looks nice.
I think I clicked 2. Looks like it's out of order. This is the before picture. That's Beaver Run, and this is the after picture. So those 2 slides got mixed up somehow.
I'll take credit for that.
This again, Beaver Run. Last year was Beaver Run's year. Before and after pictures. This is Denny Ridge. That was a big oak tree that fell down on Denny Ridge. This is my fulcrum here, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you this, but the next picture, I guess there is no play button. Anyway, that was supposed to show it, that log rolling away. It rolled away beautifully. It went down the hill, made a right turn, and landed on the right-hand side of the trail and lined the trail beautifully and protected. It didn't go over the hill because if it would have kept going, it would have gone about 200 yards. Oh, there it goes. And that's the after. This is actually a couple years back, but this is one of my favorite pictures. This is when we had the almost tornadic activity in Salidas. We could not even find where the trail was. And this is my grandson. We had to go up in that tree and find where the trail was. He got it on right directly above the trail, so I knew where to cut to as we were cleaning that area up. This is one of the first habitat piles on the left that we made up at Chestnut Cove from all the debris that was left over from creating the parking lot. The picture on the right is a habitat pile that is actually covering up one of the blowdown tree root balls, and it's got access points for critters to get in on both sides. That's one thing we've learned, Stephanie, is my habitat builder extraordinaire. The critters like 2 routes in and 1 route in, 1 route out, 2 routes to get in and out of the habitat piles. So the down tree logs make perfect place for critters to get on each end. The one on the right is a hole in the ground from a tree stump removal, and then pile of brush on top of it, and they've got ways, animals have ways to get in and out of there. We've actually seen, I'm pretty sure there's a fox that lives in one of these. The picture on the left was the trail that was not authorized through the ground cedar, and the picture on the right is the way that that is coming back. For our upgrade activities, the things we've done, we ended up having to relocate the Forever Memorial Trail last year, so we worked with BTCI to come up with a plan to do that. Getting a stream crossing in there was very difficult. We tried to make a path through the stream. That turned out not to be feasible. There was just no way. Even using 2,500-pound boulders, we could not get them in a place where they would stay in place. So we came up with a different solution. You'll see a picture of that. We completed all the Chestnut Cove trailhead signage, kiosk, trail map. We hand dug a trail, the Orange Trail. On the Chestnut Cove trails, they're primarily old logging roads. They're about 60, 80 years old. But the Orange Trail is only partially logging roads. And so we had to create a loop there that required a lot of hand digging on some pretty steep hillside and movement of a lot of rocks to get that trail completed. We put what I call permanent blazes on those trails. They're actually PVC. The squirrels do like to chew on them, so they're not really permanent, but they last a lot longer than a painted blaze lasts. One of the big things we have done is we put the benches on all the trails, and I've started using these polywood benches, which is recycled plastic. They don't get algae on them like the wood benches do. They don't require painting and staining and maintenance and hauling out of the woods to pressure wash them and restain them and paint them and do all that stuff. They're actually pretty self-cleaning. The rain cleans them off, and if they get a little light pollen dust or leaves on them, they brush off easily. We put directional road signs for the Denny Ridge and Chestnut Cove trails, just trying to advertise them to the community because a lot of people didn't even know that we had Denny Ridge and Chestnut Cove trails. Denny Ridge and Chestnut Cove, we've installed some Be Aware Bear signs, Be Aware of Bear signs. Probably need to do that on Beaver Run as well, because I've run into them there a few times. I've started working on widening and have a group helping me widening and stabilizing some of the upper parts of the Beaver Run Trail. We hope to finish that this year. And then a couple years back, we put a rope hand railing on the steep sections of Denny Ridge. These are all upgrade activities. There's the new bridge for the Forever Memorial Trail over the creek, the BTCI built for us. These are the signs at Chestnut Cove with the 3 color-coded trails. Got a trail map and elevation profile there, a description of how the blaze system works, and that's the Be Aware of Bear sign. This is an example of the Orange Trail. It's not the best example. I couldn't get my iPhone camera person up on the trail in time for the slide, so I had to use an Android, and you can't really tell, but the trail goes along through here. That tree has been removed, but this is an example of the blazes with a right turn, and then you can see that you're getting back on the trail with the next blaze. So the trail is pretty well marked up there. This is just an area where I had to move about 1,000 rocks to get the trail to go through here. Just another example of the Orange Trail. Beaver Run, this is one of the benches that we put up. And of course, 2 months after we put the bench there, a tree fell on it. These are the benches at the Forever Memorial Waterfall and the point on Sally Doss, looking at Lake Tamarack. These are the directional signs that we added in the neighborhood just to help people find the trails. That's one section of the rope on the steep part of Denny Ridge that helps people pull themselves up the mountain. Of course, everybody should be using hiking sticks, but if they don't have them, that helps a lot. And these are our goals, plans and goals. We'll continue with all the normal maintenance activities on all the trails. We've got the wood chips on all the upper Sally Doss trails now. So in the fall, we'll probably focus on the lower Sally Doss. It lasts about 2 years before we do it again. We'll complete the rehab of the upper Beaver Run Trail. Hope to add more benches. That'll be dependent on fundraising. I want to build a new trail that will connect the Orange Trail on Chestnut Cove up to the Stump Mountain trails. And unless somebody comes up with a better idea, Wayne, of where we should put a trail, that will be the next goal, will be to connect those trail systems. Wow. And that will also help, some of those trails are a little bit steep, so it'll give people the opportunity to walk downhill. You'll have to park a car at the top or a car at Chestnut Cove and drive up to Stump Mountain if you want to walk downhill and avoid walking up the mountain. The old tree ring exhibit for the Sally Doss area is in pretty bad shape, and we're going to probably upgrade that or replace it. We may not be putting it at the exact same spot because that log is in such bad condition that I don't think we can use the same location, but I've got another place in mind. We'd like to create a good trail map or brochure or QR codes that we could put on our trailheads that people could take a picture with a camera just and have it with them as they go on the trail. Denny Ridge needs to be reblazed, and we'll be looking at exploring other opportunities for new trails. One idea being connecting Chestnut Cove to Denny Ridge, which is probably a multi-year process because we've looked at, we can get to Shadowwick fairly easily, but then we got to get from Shadowwick to Denny Ridge. And that's going to take some doing. What we need, volunteers we need, just people, if people would adopt a trail, just walk a trail and report needed maintenance. That way we can, if I don't walk it for a month and something happens the day after I walk it, if somebody reports that, we'll get it cleaned up right away. Trail maintenance volunteers, anybody that can help with clearing down trees, that will come in handy. Trail builders, if we do make the trail that goes up to Stump Mountain, there's one place that we're going to have to move, instead of 1,000 rocks, we're going to have to move probably 5,000 rocks. And would be glad to have somebody that could create that new tree ring exhibit, and an artist or a CAD person that could create brochures for us.
Great presentation. Do you have anything for questions or answers?
Stephanie reminds me that we have a hike. It's another thing we've kind of taken over with the hiking club under Lake and Wildlife, and the next hike is this coming Wednesday. It's going to be Raven Cliffs, which is probably an hour and a half away, something like that, which will be a great hike. Another thing I didn't mention is that, we've been working with Habitat folks about signage, educational signs that we're putting out primarily on the more heavily used trails. We'll talk about native plants that are good for insects and butterflies, the native grass meadows and flower meadows that Barb talked about, plus some of the habitat structures. So we'll be putting some identifying signs out for those. Andrew.
I'd like to personally congratulate you on the work you personally and your wife have done on these trails. It is unbelievable. I'd like to request that whoever can get with you and do the, how old is this tree ring, the ring, I put that in about 6 years ago.
Right.
It is fabulous for the 2 Sally Doss Youth Week hikes. And the kids love it when they go and see, let's count the ring. So maybe we can get that done before Youth Week. So.
Not this year.
What I gotta do is get somebody with a chainsaw, a larger chainsaw, to do 1 slice, if that stump is good.
Yeah, I've got a good stump in mind, the one at the chestnut down at the point of the upper Salados area.
Upper side, okay.
Yeah.
Mason, I have a question.
Yes.
The stump trail actually goes through our property, so where are you looking to come up and meet that when you connect them?
Actually bored closer to the water tower.
Oh, okay.
So we come up to the road area,
Come up to
really.
the road.
Yeah, it would be on green space or common space.
The only reason I ask that is because the property that's behind us is now up for sale. So if you were thinking about coming up that way, I don't know how feasible that would be going forward.
Yeah, we're looking at doing it all on non-private property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Good plan. Thanks again, Mason and Stephanie. We appreciate it very, very much. And that'll be a good connector. Good questions, so that's good, yeah. All right, one more. At the end, volunteers, volunteers, volunteers. We all need help. Megan helped put this together. As I say, Megan is working today at her new job. Net, if we look at all the volunteers that we have in work, whether it was with Andy, doing trail work, doing work with Lake and Streams, volunteering for events, parties, Tamarack Treasures, a lot of people do multiples, so we're working on different things. We had 108 people, 108 different people work as a volunteer last year, which is a pretty good number, and that's up. And that's considering Gmail and Lake and Wildlife members that we have on our Gmail system, which is what we log into every time we have a meeting, increased in 2025 from 2024, 431 to 542 people. So we had an increase of 24% in people on our email system and Gmail system for Lake and Wildlife. Partners meetings, what we're doing today. Thus far in 2026, we've had 244 people for 4 months, which is a 6% up from 25, which is good. Meeting attendance was 529 in 2024, and last year went up to 662. So we went up 25% in the people that came to our meetings, which is good. We're building the base. Newcomers, meetings, first timers, Bentry, community picking up stuff as well as from BTAC. New people, 16 in 2044. That's not many, but that's new people that have bought in first 2025, 25. And then so far this year for 4 months, January, February, March, April, we've got 15. So, if you look at that, 3 times that, 45, so we're almost doubling, so that's good. We're picking up more newcomers into the group. And first-timers, very interesting. That's at this meeting. In 2024, we had 18 people. Last year, we had 31. So we've got more first timers, more newcomers coming to our meetings, which is good because that's our base and our growth. Last but not least, very important. So if you look at volunteers and you look at the hours, which is what Megan tracks, how many volunteer hours do we put in that Bent Tree itself would have to do to maintain the trails, to monitor the water, all the things that we do at Lake and Wildlife, and we put an hourly rate to that the IRS allows us to use, working with Bent Tree admin. 2024, we put in values of $46,200. Last year, $51,250. What does that mean? Okay, that is in effect an operating cost that Bent Tree will have that they can put in as a cost to offset revenue. So that lowers the profit, that lowers tax, that lowers any increase in HOAs. So the volunteers help on an increase, and we're up 5% in 2026. So our work, all our volunteer efforts contribute to operating costs that allow Bent Tree to save money and not pay taxes. That's good. That's good. Coming up August, we're going to talk about eagles. We're going to have a special presentation on eagles. September, turtles. October, Bigfoot. Bigfoot in the U.S. and around here and North Georgia. And we're going to have speakers come in from up in Blue Ridge, which is going to be very interesting. November, we'll have the Southeast Georgia Pollinator Census and that information that Barb talked about. In December, obviously, our annual report from Jim Pryor on BTCI. Owls. Okay. Okay, good. Owls, no turtles. Okay, we got it. Thank you. What do you think? Let us know. We always like comments, volunteers, donations welcome directly. And we are getting a lot more donations. Not a lot, but there's more donations coming this year than last year. And so that's a nice thing. YouTube, John, thank you. We're posted this meeting. All of our people here on Facebook, Bent Tree, out on YouTube, and next door. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.